those crops like apple is there, pear, peach, plum, apricot, cherry, walnut, almond. They are all crops which are temperate crops which need chilling requirements. First of all, you should know about the crop. What is its importance, right? If your crop is important as far as the country's economic point of view is concerned, export point of view is concerned, if it is important, if it is providing the livelihood to the people, then fine. You no one will say no to your project. If you are handling a crop which is unexploited but having the potential, having some medicinal properties or some other properties, and it directly or indirectly gives contributes towards the economic livelihood of the people, then it is okay. But if you are handling a project, if you want to write a project on a crop which is unexploited but is not economically viable, then there are least chances of getting the funds in that crop. In case of temperate horticulture crops, we know, as far as India is concerned, India has the temperate region in northwestern Himalayas, which covers the states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttarakhand, and some parts of our northeastern Himalayan region. And the main crop is apple, walnut, because 75% of area and more than 65% of production is contributed by only these two crops. You know, if we see apple, single apple crop covers more than 20 lakh hectares. It covers more than 2 lakh hectares and produces more than 20 lakh tons of apple per year. And if we see how much it is contributed to our economy, it is contributing more than 50,000 crores. See, this is the importance of our apple crop. And walnut, again, walnut has more than 1 lakh million metric tons production. Again, it is contributing to the country's economy and state's economy, the states which are growing these crops. So first foremost point is the importance of crop. Once you will take a pen to write your project, you should know the crop you are dealing with. First of all, it should be important crop, right? And second, it should have some importance with respect to those properties which are untouched. Suppose I will work on an area on which some other people have already worked. So that area need to be properly reviewed. That we will see in the next slide. Here you can see this slide. Our apple crop covers an area of 301,000 hectares. That means 3 lakh hectares and produces 23 lakh tons. And walnut covers an area of more than 1 lakh thousand hectares and produces more than 3 lakh tons. That means these two crops are important as far as their uh, area and production is concerned. And see, we have other temperate crops as well. Some crops are very important, like peach, cherry, plum, apricot, and people have worked on them. Not much work has been done in those crops. So, if some people will work, write a project in crop like peach and plum, like cherry, if some people will see that, let us do this sequencing, whole genome sequencing of cherry. Let me tell you that whole genome sequencing project, for example, in biotechnology, people have started writing whole genome sequencing in those crops. And there are so many crops for which these whole genome sequencing has not yet been done. So you can start with those. First thing is you will take a crop which has the importance, and you will identify the problem which has not yet been addressed. Right. So next
Sir,
slide.
one thing, sir, I would request one thing to disable the video. Why?
Yes.
Because your voice is breaking. You can disable the video, then we'll listen to you.
Okay. Is it right now? Right.
This is better now, sir. Okay.
Okay. So next slide. See, I will tell you, once you will design a project, While designing the project, you should keep two things in mind. You should keep in mind that there is the crop you have taken or some aspect you have taken, there is some problem. You should identify some problem. Without addressing about the problem, we cannot get the project. See, in case of temperate horticulture crops, we have problems like we have the problem in quality planning material production. So we have the problem in quality planning material production. So we can develop the projects for preparing. We can prepare a project wherein you can assure that there is a better planning material production. Again, one more problem in our temperate horticulture crops is the incidence of disease and pests. See, in case of apple, the disease scare it contributes to it contributes towards the loss of apple in a huge way. If there are projects which will address this problem, so they will be funding agency will have um, no reason to reject that project. They will accept that project. They know funding agencies and the reviewers, they know that scab disease is a problem. It's a bigger problem in case of apple. So once you will write a project on that particular problem, which is obvious, which has the contribution, which economy, which negatively affects the economic of the country. So those projects will be accepted. Problem identification is very important in case of temperate horticulture crops, particularly in case of apple, scab disease is a very important problem. Other problems include we have gamosis in our stool fruits. We have diseases like alternaria. We have diseases like Marsanina in apple. We have a disease like anthracnose in walnut. See, you have seen many of you might have seen the walnut that's black inside, and that blackness of walnut is caused by the anthracnose. If somebody will write the project for management of that anthracnose, they can get those projects. Pesticide residue analysis. See, major problem in our temperate horticulture crops is, for example, in apple, we are spraying a lot of pesticides. If somebody will write a project and he will address this problem, pesticide residue analysis, he will do the residue analysis of the samples in that. So funding agency will get the motivation that right, this is a big problem we are facing, so that can be accepted. We have problem like monopoly. We are growing only few varieties of some crops, like we are growing delicious group in apple. So projects, if we develop a project on vertical development with respect to scab resistance, with respect to regular bearing, if alternate bearing is a obvious phenomenon in apple. If we write a research project which address this problem of alternate bearing, if we write a project which will encourage the regular bearing, that will be accepted. In case of walnut, we have the problems of bearing is there, so productivity is low. So if we can develop a variety, we can introduce a new variety which is having lateral bearing phenomena, those projects can be accepted. They will have more acceptability. We have non-descriptive varieties. You might have seen in case of walnut, almond, there's a mixture of product in the market. If you will go to the market, you will buy walnut or almond, you will get a mixture of product. It's not a single variety. You will get a 10 varieties in a single kg. That's a problem. That is non-descriptive varieties. So in that case, if you can introduce, you can develop, you can promote descriptive varieties in those things, so those can be accepted. Lack of harvesting index. See, we are harvesting our crops, any crop, mango, apple, lychee, we are harvesting those crops at a particular harvesting time, but farmers are not knowing the real harvesting time. They are not knowing exactly when they are getting maturing, exact value of the maturity. We are seeing the apple color, let it be, color is okay, we should harvest it. Size has appeared, we should harvest it. But there are other factors which contribute towards the maturity of a fruit. So those projects which will address that problem, which will develop the harvesting indices, those will have more chances of acceptance. For example, nowadays we are developing e-nose. What is e-nose? It's electronic nose. What it does, it evaluates the amount of VOCs, volatile organic compounds in the fruits. Based on the profile of volatile organic compounds, you can identify the harvesting index of a fruit. So those projects which are based on e-nose development or e-tongue development, e-tongue is based on the taste. So this is the electronic proof, basically. If somebody has the potential, if somebody has the capability of developing the projects uh, with these ENOs or ETEN like proof development, sensor development, quality, such type of projects will be accepted. These are the new models. Post-harvest management and value addition is also one of the big problem in case of temperate horticulture crops. If we develop a project for nano encapsulation, nano packaging, if we develop a mechanical grading models, if we develop a value-added product with better market prices, those will get attracted in the by the funding agencies, because reverse see these things. Reverse see that if somebody is submitting a project, what actually it addresses, what problem it is addressing. We should identify clear cut problem in our project, and that problem is depicted in our introduction part that we will see the parts of the project later on. Next one. See, one more thing, when you design a project, you yourself are not an expert, right? You are a, for example, biochemist. You cannot deal with the physiological aspects. You are a microbiologist. You cannot deal with the biotechnological aspect. So first thing is your project should be multidisciplinary. All those disciplines should be involved in your project. All those scientists should be involved in your project, which can cover, which can solve the problem. See, single problem cannot, a problem cannot be solved by a single discipline. Always you need more disciplines. You need a physiologist, for example, for addressing a problem of scab. You need a pathologist, you need a physiologist, you need a molecular biologist, you need a biotechnologist, you need a breeder who will do finally the breeding. All these you need in your project so that you will come out with a solution for that particular problem. So first of all, it should be multidisciplinary. Second thing is, your institute is not sufficient. You don't have sufficient facilities. You may not have sufficient equipment. You may not have field gene bank or phenotyping facilities. So if you will develop multi-institutional facilities, you can share those facilities. Multi-institutional projects, you can share facilities, you can share expertise, you can share technological know-how. So better to develop a multidisciplinary and multi-institutional project. In multi-institutional project, there is a pooling of equipments, pooling of resources, sharing of it. Fine. And finally, project should be having sufficient expertise and facility. Should have sufficient expertise and facility. That can be done only by developing a multidisciplinary and multi-institutional project, right? So, what are the different components of a research project? Research project have title, introduction, literature review, technical program or methodology, plan, that is time frame and schedule of activities, budget and details of project investigators. In nutshell, these are the main parts of your research project. Let us see one by one what is the importance and how each one should be look like. Next one. You know, first one is the title. Title of a research project should be concise, it should be descriptive, it should be informative and catchy. Right? A title should not be a lengthy one. Title should not be like a paragraph. It should not be a small one. It should show you some information. Right? If you will write a title, for example, for development of a, if you have the problem of scab in apple, right? If there's a problem of scab in apple, what will be your project? It is the management of scab. If you will write development of scab resistant varieties, it is a small title. It is not mentioning the crop. It is not mentioning the methodology, how you are developing this scab resistant varieties. So it is a small title. It is not acceptable. If you write development of scab resistant varieties in apple for making it resistant to scab to increase productivity, quality for better export, blah 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 blah. That means it is like a paragraph. It's a lengthy title. It is not acceptable. It is, although it is showing information in detail, but it is like a paragraph. What is the better way? It should be precise, like introgression of scab resistant traits in commercial cultivars of scab apple through hybridization from wild resources. Right. Here title is small, precise, informative. Right. So title should not be like a paragraph or very small without information. It should be informative as well as small. This is the title. Second one is the introduction. Right. Introduction should give the importance of crop. Say you are dealing with the scab management of apple. So it should give the importance of apple first. What is apple? Introduction should tell us importance of apple. It should tell us influence of scab on apple production or productivity. So the problem you are mentioning in your project should be linked to its quality or productivity. The problem should be linked to the loss of economy, loss of livelihood, loss of production, loss in any factor, so that it will get attraction by the reviewers of your project. And your title should, in your introduction, should mention the rationale and justification. For example, in this case, in case of apple, you can say you will do some breeding to solve the problem of scab. Right. Third one is objective. Third one is objective. After introduction, based on introduction, you design some objectives. Objective should be smart. What does smart mean? Smart means it should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, it should be relevant, and it should be time bound. Right. Specific means it should give the answer what is to be done. What is to be done precisely, specific. For example, in case of scab management, we'll do hybridization. Specific, we'll do hybridization. In what variety? We will use red delicious variety. That means it is specific. Second is measurable. Measurable gives the answer. How will you know it meets expectation? Right? By using accessible terms like quantity, quality, frequency. For example, in this case, we are doing hybridization. How it is measurable? We are saying that we will do hybridization of your variety X with variety 1. That means number of hybridizations you are doing. That means it is measurable. Hybridization number is measurable between some parents you are doing hybridization. That means you are giving the measurable measurements of your objective. Achievable. The objective you are mentioning, it should be achievable. Can the person do it? It should answer your query. Can the person do it? That means achievable. In our case, if you are doing the experiment of, if you are doing the project on hybridization, yes, it is achievable because hybridization is a naturally occurring phenomenon and it can be done. Yes, it can be done. So you are sure that you are achievable because if you are here, we have mentioned the title introgression of scab resistant trait in commercial cultivars of apple through hybridization from wild sources. And our objective is hybridization between red delicious and Malus floribunda for transfer of VF genes, for example. So our objective is specific because we are mentioning hybridization. It is measurable because we are doing hybridization of our variety with the resistant cultivar. It is achievable because everybody know that natural hybridization is a natural phenomenon and it occurs. It can be achievable. It is relevant because it is solving your problem. It is relevant. Relevance means whether it is solving our problem, should we do it or not? Yes, we should do it because it is solving our problem. It can transfer the genes from wild cultivar to our domestic cultivar. So it is relevant. Time oriented. Time oriented means when will we do it and should we do it? Can it be done in time? Yes, it can be done because we know hybridization is done in this year and seeds that you can get seeds next season and you can germinate those seeds in next year. That means it is time oriented. So our objective should be smart. As here our objective was hybridization between red divisions and Malus floribunda for transfer of VF genes. It is smart as we have discussed. So while writing a objective, writing an objective, you should mention that your objective should be smart. You should not have the objective like which cannot be done, which is hypothetical, and which has no time orientation. You will write an objective which can be done in 15 years. Such type of objectives should be avoided. Objectives by themselves, each and every objective should cover the smartness. Third is the literature review. Why we are doing this? Literature review is done to state who is working on this problem, what has been done, has done what. Now we have it links your research work with the previous works. Now you can say that has been done till this point, and now your work will take new research beyond this point. So you can link your work with the previous studies. Literature is very important. It provides the details of existing works going on and concluded ones. It links between existing research proposal with the previous studies. It avoids duplicacy of research work, right? And it shows tandem improvement studies in specific problems addressed upon. Date wise, you can say why is this problem or question important by review. You can find out who else has worked on this or similar problems and what methods they have used. It will give you idea of methodology. So improvement over upon the existing works can be done when you have the complete literature available with you, right? So literature confirms your work is distinct, novel, innovative. See, if your work is not distinct, if it is not novel, and if there is no innovativeness, the reviewers will not accept your work for acceptance of the, for grant of funds. So you should be 100% sure that your work has the distinctness, innovativeness, and it should be novel. Then only it will be accepted. And fourth one is the methodology. Methodology of a this methodology of the modus operandi of your project.
Hello? Hello, sir. Are you audible? Hello?
How designs following the field genes or narrow identity should have got identity. When you are creating the identity of a plasm which you are using in your audible, if I please.
Yes, sir. You are audible, but the voice is now and then breaking up.
Wait, I'll. Am I audible now?
Much better, much better.
Okay. See, when you are using a particular germplasm for your research studies, when you are writing about the germplasm in your research project, you should mention the national identity of the germplasm. You can write IC number of your germplasm. You can write EC number of your germplasm. Or if germplasm is registered, you can write registration number. Right? Second thing is you should use sample size. If you are doing a breeding of apple, for example, here mentioned, we will use huge number of crops. Yeah, number of crosses. Sorry.
Hello, sir. You are not audible. Hello? Hello? Sir, your connection is not that
मम्मी
good. Can
अपन
you check on
गोलू
your connection?
चाचा की दूसरा केक ला देंगे हाँ दूसरा दूसरा ला देंगे दूसरे केक तो काटेगा गोलू चाचा वो तो क्रीम वाला केक का है अपने अपन लिख देंगे हैं अपन दूसरा लाएंगे पानी
Please mute your phone. Hello, please,
पाइनएप्पल
please
वाला
mute your microphone.
अब अपन मैंगो वाला
There's a connection issue with just a second. We're trying to contact him on phone so that he can join back in. Just a second. Hi, sir is having some connection issues and it will be sorted in 1 or 2 minutes. Please bear with us and please show patience. Thank you. Hello, sir. Are you there? Hello? Sir, please unmute yourself.
Hello, Majid. Next slide.
Just a second, just a second. I move to the next slide. Just a second, it will get refreshed.
Okay, next slide. Right.
Do you want me to go with the title one?
Right, this is title. Next one. Title we have discussed it in detail that it should be concise, descriptive, and informative. We should not write a lengthy title like a paragraph that we have discussed. We should not write a small title which is not showing any information. So our title should be precise. It should not be a lengthy one, but it should be informative. From a title, we should get clear-cut information about the problem and as well as the solution. Next one.
It takes a bit of time to reflect.
Right. See, we were discussing about the objectives, that our objectives should be smart. Smart, I said that they should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-oriented. Right. If you have some project, you are designing some project, and you are writing an objective which is not specific, which is not specifying the problem, then that cannot be accepted. That objective is not fulfilling its requirement. What it should be specific. For example, here our objective is hybridization between red delicious and Malus floribunda for transfer of VF gene. There are three things. One is phenomena, that is hybridization. Second is subject, in which, that is red delicious and Malus floribunda. Third thing is object, what? That is VF gene. We are transferring the VF gene. That means this objective specific, it is specifying what we are doing. We are doing hybridization, and in which we are doing in red delicious. It is specific, it is measurable, because we are saying that we are doing hybridization between A and B. That means it is measurable. We can say hybridization is a measurable phenomenon, because hybridization can be done between two only, right? It is achievable. Everybody knows that hybridization is a natural phenomena, and once we do the crossing, we can get the results in a 1 year. It's achievable. Relevant, relevance means, your problem, is it relevant? Is it solving the problem? If yes, then your objective is okay. If your objective is not showing the problem solution in it, then it is not relevant. Relevant should say yes, it can solve the problem. And time oriented means your objective should say that it can be done in a particular period of time, right? If you will write a project wherein you are not mentioning when it is done, and it can be done in 10-15 years, that is not an objective. Objective should show that it is a time bound phenomena. Hybridization, everybody knows, is a time bound phenomena, and such type of interrogation can be done on 1 or 2 years, and it can be, you can validate the variety in 2 to 3 years. That means total project can be covered in a 5-year time, right? Next one. Right, see, literature review, very important thing. Can anybody accept your project if it is not distinct, if it is not showing some novelty, if it is not showing some innovativeness? Can anybody accept your project? Nobody will accept. Nobody can accept the project if it is not fulfilling these three things. It should confirm distinctness, novelty, and innovativeness. Then how will you come to know that your project is novel, distinct, and innovative? You will only come to know when you will go through the review. If you will go to the review, if you will go through the review, you will come to know who people have done this, who is working on your problem, and you can link your problem with the other research people, and you can easily see is there any duplicacy or not, right? And you can show the tandem improvement of the existence. You can find out that, right, these people have already worked on this particular problem. Now I will root on ahead of them. You will fix a point up to which you will see from the literature that people have done the work up to this point. Then I will move ahead. You will develop a project that point onwards, that will show it is novelty, innovativeness, and distinctness, right? So you will address those problems, like why is this problem or question important. You can say who else has worked on this or similar problems, and you can also say what methods were used. You can see the methods from the review and literature, and you can do the advancements of the methodology by going to review and literature for solving the problems, right? Review and literature is the actually one of the driving force, one of the indicators, success indicators for your project acceptance. Next one. Can you go to next slide, please?
I already clicked on the next. It reflects in a bit of time.
Next slide, please, Majid.
Already done. Already done.
Okay, it will come out on my screen. And next slide is basically on the methodology, right? Methodology should clearly give the kind of protocols you are using, kind of methodology methods you are using, kind of chemicals you are using. It is basically the modus operandi of the project, right? In temperate fruits and nuts, the research point need to be mentioned. Kon say what type of things you need to mention in your methodology? You should mention the planting material and location of the study. And every planting material should have the identity number. See, if you are working on, for example, 100 varieties, you are writing the name of those varieties. Nobody has heard about those varieties. If you are not writing the identity number simultaneously, it has less acceptance. If you have IC number, IC means indigenous collection number, or EC number, exotic collection number, or registration number. In our India, we have INGR number, Indian germplasm registration number, which you are getting from NBPGR. If you are supporting your planting material or varieties with those national identities or international identities, those will provide a better acceptance of your planting material in a project. Overall, it will add the weightage towards the acceptance of your project. Research or study design. Your research, what you are mentioning, what the kind of methodology you are mentioning, it should be statistically designed. Statistical design is must, because unless and until you are not having a specific design, you cannot analyze your data properly. If you are doing in RBD, there is a separate analysis for RBD. If you are doing in split plot design, there is a separate analysis for split plot design. If you are doing in CRD, there is a separate analysis for CRD. So first you have to think before doing the experiment. You have to put your things in a proper design, statistically designed, so that once you will collect the data from your design, it will go for a proper analysis mode. Then sample size, very important. You should have got the largest sample size. You have to keep biological replicate and treatment replicate always in your mind. Once you will do any sort of analysis, any kind of method you will use a biological replicate. What is biological replicate? It is a, if you have two plants of a same variety, these two plants are the biological replicates. If you are using two leaves from a single biological plant, then it is a treatment replicate. If you are using two samples from extract taken from a single leaf, then it is a treatment replicate for your method. That's a methodology replicate, right? So biological replicate is required for any sort of there's your analysis mode. So sample size for that matter should be large. In case of, we were discussing about the breeding. For example, in breeding in apple for introgression of scab resistant gene in some commercial varieties of apple, we should have got a large sample size. Although we are doing crosses between only two varieties, but we have to produce large population. So number of crosses should be high. I will advise, if some breeder is here, we should do at least 1,000 crosses for a single introgression of character. 1,000 crosses, because here you cannot develop a mapping population by selfing. Here you have to develop open population. So 1,000 crosses will give you 4,000 seeds, and 4,000 seeds, if you will get 80% success in germination, you will get 3,200 plants. So 3,200 plants you can use for breeding strategy. Study instruments and equipments. See, if you're we are doing fruit quality analysis, for example, we can do fruit quality analysis by spectrophotometric method, titration method, volumetric method, HPLC, LCMS. We can do GCMS, AAS. So there are number of equipments, there are number of procedures by which we can do the estimation of similar thing. But if you will give me result out of titration method, spectrophotometric method, and volumetric method, on other side you are giving me the results of chromatographic methodology like HPLC, GCMS, or maybe LCMS, so I will accept those because they have more precision, they have more accuracy. So always you should use the equipments and instruments which have better precision and better accuracy. So those things should be mentioned in your project. Only that project will be accepted which will have the better instrumentation mentioned in that methodology. Method details, right? You should give stepwise details of the methodology. Again, you have studied review and literature. From the review and literature, you came to know that different people have used different methods. So you have the knowledge method gives the better results. So you will first off use the most improved method out of those. That means the review and literature gives you the better methods, details about the better methods. You can improve upon that by your own, but at least from review and literature, you can use the most improved method first. Data collection. I told you that you should have got the biological and technical replicates in your data collection so that better mode of analysis can be done. And data analysis and interpretation. You have n number of softwares. You have SPSS software, R software, SAS software, JMP software. See, there are softwares which are menu driven, like SPSS is menu driven, but softwares like R software, SAS software, they are command driven. So whatever command you will provide, you will get the result. And they have better graphic interface. I have seen our software and SAS. It is a better graphic use interface, right? You'll get better resolution, high resolution pictures. See, if you are producing that nowadays, what we are producing heat maps and data presentation by heat maps, which will give you the quantitative comparative estimation. Heat map you can develop by R software. Very interesting heat map, very peculiar and beautiful heat map you can get from R software. So better to select at first you should mention a best software in your project, and not only mention, you should use the best software in your project so that reviewers will come to know that you are doing the analysis with the most advanced software. So acceptance of your project will be better. Ethical considerations are required for each and everything. So project is with more advanced methods and equipments assumed to provide better results. They will attract your funding, right? Next one. Next one. Next one actually is the plan. What plan is? Plan is the activity chart. What activity you are doing? It's a time frame. It's a time frame. It includes all the milestones, right? In case of breeding, for example, your activity chart starts with the selection of parents. Your activity chart, in case of hybridization, we were discussing, your activity chart starts with pollen viability studies. For example, you will study it 2020 April. You have to mention in your project the activity chart, flow table. Then you will go for compatibility studies, then go for lower scale crossing, then seed harvesting in September, seed stratification in December. Then next year you will go for seed sowing. Then in same year you will go for planting of rootstocks. In next year you will get the population for grafting, and then you can go for molecular screening for VF genes in next year, and screening of genotypes in next year. You are doing this breeding program you have initiated in 2020, and you have identified genes with introgression of VF genes with fruit quality traits in 2025. That means this program, what we have mentioned here, breeding for introgression of scab resistant gene in the commercial cultivars of apple, it will go for 5 years, and you will do these type of studies stepwise. You will see this is your plan. This I am giving a rough plan here. You can mention a milestone stepwise. Pollen viability studies. It's a milestone because pollen viability studies need to be done because you are using two varieties, red delicious and Malus floribunda, for example, for crossing. You should know that both the parents have the pollen viable. When you are doing the crosses and reciprocal crosses, you have to study the viability. If there is no viability of pollen, you cannot go for the next step. That is a milestone which is required for next step. Then compatibility studies, although pollen are viable, then you have to see that by transferring this pollen, there will be a fertilization. That means compatibility studies you have to identify. That is again a milestone. If they are compatible, then there will be the fruit set. If they are non-compatible, then there won't be any fruit set. Then after compatibility studies, you can go for large scale crossing. You can use crosses in thousands. Now you are sure that they are compatible. Now you can use the crosses in thousands. After crossing, you can go for seed harvest. See, one cross in apple will give you one seed. Since apple is having how many ovules? Maybe 10 ovules, you will get 10 seeds. Right? 10 seeds you will get maximum if there is a complete fertilization. If incomplete fertilization will be at least 3-4 seeds you will get on average. Right? After harvesting the seeds, you will do for seed stratification because there is a dormancy of seeds. To break that dormancy, you'll go for stratification. How you are doing stratification? You are keeping seeds at low temperature. That is again a milestone because you are breaking the dormancy. Then you are sowing the seeds. Seed after seed sowing, you will simultaneously on other side you will plant the rootstock, because these are the perennial crops. In case of apple, if you will grow seed, if you will wait that plant for its fruit to come, it will take years together. It will take 5-6 years. But if you will get graft wood out of that and directly graft it on a rootstock, clonal rootstock like M9 rootstock, it will induce precocity. Precocity means the stage at which it will bear the fruit. It will induce the precocity, early precocity. So you will get fruits earlier, so that evaluation of fruits can be done. That's why we are doing, after sowing, we are doing the grafting. We are grafting these seedlings on the rootstock. Then you will get leaves out of those grafted plants. Those leaves can be used for screening of VF gene. What we are introducing here, it is the VF gene that can be molecular techniques. You can use simple RT-PCR for screening the population for VF gene. Fine. You have got out of maybe 5,000 population, you have got VF gene in maybe 1,000. So which one is the best? Which one is the variety now? Scab resistant variety which you will commercialize. You will wait. Then fruits will come from that plants. You will screen plants for fruit quality. The plant which will give you the better fruit quality, simultaneously the better the presence of VF gene. That means it is scab resistant on one side and better fruit quality on the other side. You can recommend that variety for release. Now your job is over, because you are going to develop a variety which is better in quality and having resistance against scab. This is the plan what we have seen here. So you can develop for your problem. It should start with a milestone. Each step should be a milestone and end up with a solution to the problem. See, once you will write a project, you should state the relevant institutional resources, because funding
Hello guys, sorry to interrupt. There was a disconnection at the speaker end. Uh, we'll be joined by speaker in 2 minutes. Kindly have patience, and I'm sorry the speaker is coming. There was a disconnection at the speaker end. Just a second. Bear with us, please. Thank you. Hello, hello, sir. Are you there? Hello. 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 Javaid sir. Hello. Hello, sir.
Go back. Okay. Oh, sorry. Actually, some problem happened. So I'm extremely very sorry. So we were discussing.
Hello?
Can you show my presentation?
Can you unmute, sir? Hello.
Yeah, I have unmuted.
Hello.
Yeah, is it
Your
fine
voice
now?
is not audible.
Hello?
Hello.
Am I audible?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, you are.
Hello? Am I audible now?
Yeah. Please continue.
Hello? Yeah, show my this PowerPoint slide.
It's already there.
चलो यार क्यों गए? Slide on this. 1 second, please.
Sure, no problem.
Merge this presenting. Show me this slide. Yeah. Window. Share. No, then cancel this. No. It's could be slide.
You can present. I'm at relevant institutional resources.
Yeah, I'm not getting the screen actually.
You can pin me.
Mm, Tata. Can I minimize?
Hello?
No. Go share now. No. Majid, your slide is not coming in my monitor. No.
Just a second. You do one thing, sir. You at the
Yeah.
users level, click on users and find me, Majid Nisar. There would be Majid Nisar presenting. You click on me and there would be a pin icon.
Which one?
There would be a pin icon. You click on the pin icon and pin icon will enable your screen to view the presentation.
Yeah. It came.
Okay. Please
Okay,
continue,
thank you.
sir.
Oh, actually, sorry. We were discussing about the relevant institutional resources, right? Equipments, I told you that they are very important for the analysis point of view. But field gene bank, one of the most important thing. If you are mentioning that in your project, you are mentioning that you are using the field gene bank of some institute which is being recognized nationally, then it has the more potential for the acceptance. Reviewers come to know, yeah, you are using some authentic field gene bank, right? Some varieties which are actually handled by the institute which has the national recognition. So field gene bank is very important to be mentioned in your research proposals. Number of varieties, it depends on the problem, kind of problem you are handling, and softwares available. The kind of softwares I told you that you should have got those softwares which will have more precision and will give you a better result display. Again, the research support and expertise. The principal investigators who have already handled the projects and have the publications with high impact factor, if included in your project, will give you the more potential for the acceptance, right? And very important, the most important driving force of your project is the budget. Once formulating a project, designing a project, you should know how much budget you require. See, most of times our main problem comes here. What we are writing a lump sum budget on just we give the just ideas. Yeah, I need for equipments, I need this for manpower, I may need this for consumers, let me put 30 lakh. But you should be accurate in writing. For example, you have non-recurring and recurring parts in your budget. For example, in non-recurring, if you are mentioning equipments and if you are mentioning, for example, real-time PCR, you know that real-time PCR will cost you 20 lakh, you should mention only 20 lakh. You should not mention 50 lakh, because everybody knows that 50, it is not 50 lakh, it is at present it is 20 lakh. You can keep plus minus plus 2 or 3 lakhs, but not as high which will give a negative image to the reviewers. Capital most of time is you can keep, if it depends on the kind of research problem you are handling. Manpower, see at the latest what are the revised rates for SRF RAs, young professionals, you should know, and you should keep the exact rates in your project. Consumables, you should know at the first instinct that how much consumables you need in the form of chemicals, reagents, maybe media, soil, other media, other things. You should keep travel, international and national. Contingency, whatever other things you are not using, you are using other than these consumables, travel, for example, you are using some manpower, labors and other things that come in the contingency. Overhead is the institutional charge which you can use 10% out of that. But you should provide the justification of each and everything relevant to your project, relevant to your activities. You should be able to justify the manpower. If you are handling a breeding project, you should keep, for example, you are keeping 3 SRFs. If you are keeping 10 SRFs, it's not justifiable, right? how 10 SRFs will work, you cannot justify. So each and everything should be justified properly. And final and most important part is the SWOT analysis. What is the SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis is you should know the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats of your project. For example, strength of your project. It attributes and characteristics and factors that give competitive advantage to your project. For example, in our case, in our breeding program which we were studied, which we were discussed, what is our strength? Our strength is number of crosses, because availability of germplasm and there is a huge flowering. So we can use number of, if somebody is telling you should do 5,000 crosses, I can say him that I have a strength, I can use 10,000. So strength is that part which gives the additive competitiveness to your project. Weakness. Weakness are attributes, characters, and factors that weaken competitiveness of your project. What is the weakness in our case, in our breeding program? It is the survival rate. If you are doing this breeding program, but one survival rate for fruit setting, there may be less survival. There may be less survival in nation, or there may be less survival in grafting. So those things become the weakness of our project. Opportunities. Opportunities are favorable situations and factors that can strengthen competitiveness advantage of the project. In our cases, opportunities are multidisciplinary project. We can get support of experts from physiology, seed science, biotechnology, or multi-institutional project. That means we have more opportunities. And threats. Threats means unfavorable situations and factors that could create problem for project implementation. In our case, in breeding, what is the threat? That is linkage drag. For example, we are doing the crosses of our red delicious with wild germplasm. There may be a linkage drag. One more important part of our project is project design hierarchy and planning framework. See, if you have inputs, you can do activities. If you can do activities completely, you can have output. If you can do output completely, you can, your objective is achieved. If your objective is achieved, goals can be achieved finally. So everything has a hierarchical achievement, and it is a milestone. That means availability of inputs is a milestone, execution of activities is a milestone, obtaining output is a milestone, and final milestone is our goal, which is object, which is the final product of your activity. Next one. So the final part of our study. So you have done the objective. You have submitted a project. You have got the project. Now what is there? Now you have to monitor the object. You have to monitor the activities. You have to study step by step. Are you going well? And for every activity, for monitoring each and every activity, for monitoring the milestones, you should need to set the performance indicator. You should need to set the performance indicators, and these indicators need to be smart. For example, in our cases, our first activity is crossing. What is our indicator? It is the number of crosses. How many number of crosses set fruit? That's our first indicator. I will see if my first activity is fulfilled, then I can do the second activity, because they are related in tandem. They are in cascade. One is dependent on the other. They work in hierarchy. So indicators are must. You have to set the indicators for each and every activity. What is my second indicator? It is seed germination. That is when we are harvesting the seeds, whether they are germinating properly or not. If they won't germinate, our breeding program gets flopped. Third indicator is grafting success. Number of grafts survived. So if our grafts survive, then I can evaluate the fruit quality. So each setup has an indicator. So performance indicators you need to set to check the achievements, to check the progress of your project, to see the whether milestones are occurred or not. So all steps are checkpoints of a project planning and execution. So in this way, I wish you all the best, and I wish that each of you should develop a project and show me one gist of that, a copy of that project. So I will see what you have learned about that, and your queries are welcome. Please. Thank you very much.
If you
Majid.
have any questions, yeah. If you have any questions, please go ahead, ask, and start by one so that sir could reply to those. Please go ahead, ask your question. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any questions? Hello.
Yeah. Majid, if there are no questions, I wish that they should prepare a small concept note of project so that we can discuss in any other lecture whether they have learned anything out of this speech or not.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Each
sir.
one of them
That
should prepare
will
a
do.
list
That
of
will do.
project of their expertise, and you can mail me that project, and I can give them some suggestions on that.
Okay.
Because
Sure,
this
sure.
is a platform where you cannot interact with the people. This is a one-way interaction.
No, no, sir.
The
You
things
could,
cannot be
whatever
clear.
can connect you. Otherwise, you could interact with the people also. Otherwise, you could interact. These guys usually
Oh
ask
yeah, yeah.
questions to the faculty members.
Nee,
They're always
I'm
asking.
telling this during. I'm telling. I'm not telling that. I'm telling yes, this is the best interaction platform. I'm telling the training module. In training, you cannot interact fully. So they can have my email and they can discuss anything with me. If they are planning to write a project, they can discuss with me. I will help them in writing the
Hello,
project in
sir. I have
detail.
one question, sir.
So you
Hello.
can share my email with them.
Yeah, please
Hello,
ask
sir.
Yeah,
I
go
have
ahead.
one
question,
question, please.
Shilpa. Who is asking question? Please ask.
Hello, hello. There's some network issue, sir. I have so one question, sir. I'm Shabir.
Hello, Shabir sir, बताइए.
Hello.
Yeah, Shabir sir, बताइए,
Hello.
please.
Hello, I can say hello. Sir, this
Yeah, Shabir.
proposal, right?
We're able to hear you. Please
You
go
are
ahead.
audible, Shabir.
Sir, if we talk of today, sir, proposal of these writing these research projects. I think in current period is a very challenging assignment because I have written so much.
Hello, Dr. Mir.
Are you getting the point, sir?
Hello. Hello.
Ratna ji,
Yeah.
somebody is asking question. Please, one by one.
Oh, there's
Dr. Shabir, please ask.
Shabir.
Sir, if we talk of today, sir, current period, this, sir, there is a challenge for this writing these assignments or these proposals, sir. Sir, I have myself, I'm working here in SCOST. I have written so many these projects to the funding agency, DBT, DST. But every time I got a negative result. Sir, I don't know how to write these, and please give me some suggestions.
Shabir.
What?
Yeah,
Yes,
Shabir,
sir.
let me tell you one thing. I know you personally. You are a wonderful scientist. I know you. Shabir,
Sir, I have
you
worked.
can
I have
have an
worked.
interinstitutional.
Sir.
Shabir,
Sir, there is some network
you
issue,
can
sir.
have
There
an
is problem. That's why I'm
interinstitutional
not.
project.
Okay.
Shabir, what I am telling, you can have some interinstitutional project. You can keep some expert because when you will get your first project now, in your first project you should have got a senior most expert. After completing that project, next project you will get by yourself.
Sir, you just listen to me. Sir, there is this time I have 3 projects already. मतलब जो मेरे hand में है, I have 3 projects in my mind,
जी.
and I have already submitted some other 2 projects during the last 3-4 years.
ठीक.
But उनका भी क्या? What had happened there? They have given
Okay.
at last they have given a negative comment. You just please write it this thing and that thing. That's not possible here to do that much, sir. What to do, sir? You know, sir, our conditions in Srinagar. Day by day, there's hello. Hi.
Shabir, that is what I am telling. If you have
Yes, sir.
multi-institutional
I have 3
project,
ideas still. Sir. If I'm audible, sir, I have 3. Still, I have 3 ideas. I have written 3. So that's with me, sir. If you will please give me some your mail ID or something else, so that I can send to you, and you will please see those
Sure.
projects and tell me what I have, how to I rectify or how to this, so that they will somehow out of 3 I will get 1 project. Hello, hello.
Sure. Shabir, you can write my email, JAVID.
J. Sir, just give me 1 second, sir. Give me 1 second. हाँ sir, JVID Javed. Hi.
Iqbal,
Hello.
IQBAL.
IQBAL.
IQBAL
जी sir.
1234
1234
@gmail.com. @gmail.com.
Okay, sir.
You can call me and you can say no problem.
Thank you, sir. I hope you will
get
respond me and
problem.
give some.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay,
you,
sir.
Shabir. Thank you so much. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, ma'am.
Dr. Ratna, please.
Dr. Sir,
Ratna, ma'am.
Dr. Sir, your
Ratna, ma'am, how are you?
presentation very descriptive, and we are giving
Thank you.
assignments to the trainees, and for the whole training program, we have given them 5 assignments on which they will have prepared the proposal. And if anybody wants to
Right.
get a personally contact with you, so we have provided your email also to them.
Sure. Always welcome. Always welcome.
Okay, thank you, sir. Very much.
Always.
Thank you,
No issue.
ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Any other question, please?
So I can say one thing: this is a big achievement if anybody gets a project in his academic career. I think this
Right.
you should highlight more and more. Where will you get? Hello, sir.
Right. That is true.
Yeah.
Sir, again, on behalf of NADCL and on behalf of all the participants, I would like to thank you for your wise words and your deliberation on the
very much.
topic. Thank you very much.
But I'm
Thank you.
sorry for interruptions in between.
Sir, as we know, there are interruptions
Thank you
because
so
of
much.
the connection issues at
Yeah.
of J. I'm on behalf of NADCL. I'm very sorry to the participants. Why? Because we have experts at times from places where there are issues in connectivity. So kindly bear with us regarding that. Other than that, we'll also try to do one thing is that we'll upload the lecture on our YouTube channel, which we have already been uploading, and we'll also
YouTube,
drop
we
the
can upload
PPT.
lectures. No problem.
I'll do. Also, the PPT will be
Yeah, you
part
can
of
share
the
PPT.
Yeah. I can share PPT as well. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you. You can leave the session by
Yeah, you can
clicking
share.
the bottom red leave call option. Thank you, sir. Thanks
You
for
can share my paper also. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
Please
so
send me
much.
the paper as well. I'll share it with them also on the email, please.
Paper I have sent. Please share it. I have sent to Riyaz Saab and you can share that.
You can share it with me
Thank
for
you.
faster access. Thank you, sir.
Sure. I will send. Sure. Thank you so much. Banana se chai.
There's a leave call option at the bottom near the camera. Can you, any other participants having issues in joining or any problem? One thing I kept noticing, like people are coming in and they are starting presenting. Please do not start presenting. It creates a problem in the system. Why? Because the teacher is present.
One thing is
Hello?
there's still not a problem.
My concern is do not join and present. You have to join, keep your cameras and microphones off. Just join, nothing else. You are starting presentations, that creates a problem for everybody else. Why? Because the focus of the dashboard goes from the presenter to somebody else. Then I have to forcefully remove that person so that the focus can return to the presenter itself. Thank you guys. Any other confusions or questions you would want to ask me? As an organizer, I would want to help you regarding everything. Any issues regarding emails? I have already provided you the link for the Excel sheet to be updated. You provide your detail and your email. One thing what I do is I take all the emails and I send the invitation to all of those. That is how I do it. If your email is not there, I also share the link on the WhatsApp group so that you guys can click and join. In any case, those are the two easiest
Okay,
ways
sir.
to join the meeting. If you are not able to do so, maybe you are doing something wrong. If you have any issues, please call us or drop us a message on WhatsApp. We'll revert back to you on all those. And one thing clear, please, only those people who have registered add themselves into the list. Anything else? Any input you
And
need from my side?
sir, if we talk of Srinagar, here's a problem of network issue, but we are
That I
facing from
realize.
last so
That I
many days.
realize. Better is to reach to.
But sir, Baki,
There are some issues regarding the presentation. Why? Because presenter was from some place where there was some connection issue. Other than that, you need to check whether your own network is good enough. For that reason, I would suggest if you have broadband nearby or maybe office where you have lease line or some place, you that
yes,
would
sir.
be a better quality meeting. Otherwise, there are no challenges. The challenge
Yes,
is of connection because some place there are people who are having low speeds on their internet
yeah,
connection, maybe 2G or 3G. Better is to have a
yes,
4G
sir.
connection, if possible broadband, or if possible a leased line. That would help your cause in joining the presentation. And there are people who are stuck in storms. Right now, I got a message. There are people, there are from the west side of India where there are storms approaching and there are connection issues. On that part, I can't help you regarding that. Why? Because I may have issue. I cannot control the network on that side. You guys have all to get a network where your speeds are good enough.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Dr. Ved Prakash ji, you are saying 2 GB. I do not understand. Okay, guys, I think this is it for the day. We can leave and join tomorrow, inshallah. That would be nice. And I'll provide the link as always in the groups. Also, I'd choose people from the email list which we have already formulated. Please correct your email if there is any changes. And one thing people do when they type, one thing people do is that they type in their email IDs on phone. What happens is autocorrect comes in. When you press a full stop, then there is an automatic space added on phones. That is a challenge. Please make sure once you are typing emails, there are no spaces in between. Once we take the copy paste, we cannot go one by one adding emails. We copy paste the emails as a whole. If there is a spelling mistake or there's a space or there's a formatting issue, that is no that we cannot handle. That is a challenge you guys have to solve. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you.